Here's another question I have. How are loadouts and strongholds going to work on a Resurgence map? Because the map is so small. If there's 3 strongholds, dude, there's going to be AI all over the place. Because you could say like, okay, well, there's 5 strongholds on Al Mazrah, so we're just going to lower the number of strongholds so that it's roughly equal relative to the surface area of the map. Well, that would be 1 stronghold, and 1 stronghold only would still be more AI per square foot than Al Mazrah has with 5 strongholds. But they're not going to do only 1 stronghold. Activision devs do not play their own game.
3,000 devs can't figure out how to add a reconnect feature to a AAA title, I guess. I don't know.
Because Infinity Ward doesn't tell their consumers anything.
Maybe that'll take some of the sweats away from Shoot House.
You can cope about that, for sure.
Thanks for tweeting, at least. Thanks for doing more than Infinity Ward has done. They just keep tweeting about the soccer bundles in the store.
Things that are bad. We've got a couple words. Why don't you kick it off, Tanner?
This is going to be a longer section than the first part you guys heard.
Change it, obviously, of course. We are, in fact, live once again for the first time in a week. Welcome, boys and girls, to the Dropshot, a Call of Duty podcast, episode number 292. I don't think it's 291 as our title would suggest. My name is Casey.
Does it say 291 in the title?
Razinon. Sure does.
Oh yeah, why'd you do that, buddy? Dumb
you.
fuck. Stop. It's changed.
And today I am joined live by mistake maker Tanner Dropshot, who's got a t-shirt on, which is somewhat, and shorts. What's going on there? You got that heat blasting? Because it's cold outside. Baby, it's cold outside, as they say.
Yeah, what's it in your room right now?
I packed the thermi, so I don't know.
You already packed it up, huh?
Nice. We have our heater
It's 69 in here right now, but it feels nice for some reason.
Oh, okay. Well, that's good. That's good for you, man. Probably because you had Tark open, just heating. Your room is probably
No, I
80.
turned my PC off for the first time last night since Tarkov wiped.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I was getting drops, never turning it off. I was like, maybe I should turn it off. I don't know why I do. I have less issues if you just actually don't ever turn it off. I should just start leaving it on again, but whatever.
I just put it to sleep, yeah. But anyway.
Yeah. Cool.
I don't know. Doesn't matter. Welcome to the show. Today, we are talking about Call of Duty, the video game. Warzone 2, multiplayer, and all of the fun and exciting changes they've made this week. Now, before we get into that, first of all, I want to say, I think we've said this, Merry Christmas. Now I can say Happy New Year as well. What are our thoughts on New Year's resolutions? Do you have any New Year's resolutions, Tanner?
No, of course not.
Good for you, man.
I'm a 30-year-old white male. What kind of resolution do you think I would have?
And I agree with you. And I've on Twitter during New Year's, around that time, there are people making resolutions. And then there are also people who think they are very clever, saying like, it's an arbitrary day on a calendar. Stop making resolutions. Both of you, shut the fuck up. I don't care what your resolution is. But also, you're not the iconoclast fucking Bill Maher genius you think you are by pointing out that a New Year's resolution is ultimately just kind of an arbitrary thing because it's just another day, even though the calendar changes, which is like a fiction that we all operate with, right? You're not that clever for pointing that out. I used to do that shit when I was 16. It reminds me a lot of the phase many white men go through in high school, where they start to realize that, like, there's some plot holes in the Bible or something, and they become the most hardcore edgy atheist and think they're a fucking genius ever. We all know, and many of us were that white kid. Mostly white dudes that go through this. Especially when Tanner and I were younger, by the way. Because that was the whole big thing on YouTube. The Amazing Atheist, fucking Sargon of
Oh my
Akkad.
God, the amazing atheist. Wait, I
Yep.
forgot. Hold on,
Dude,
who is that?
That was a whole ass TJ Kirk. That was a whole ass YouTube genre when I was in high school. And like all these kids would be like, "Oh yeah, I just discovered that like atheism or whatever." And it's like, that's cool, man, but you know, don't do that when you're 30. I'm still an atheist, but I don't think I'm some fucking genius like I used to. That's what shitting on New Year's resolutions reminds me of. That's the only point. That's all I'm saying. So anyway, I don't have a resolution either, but if you do, that's cool, man. You know, I don't know. But anyway, I thought I'd ask if Tanner had a resolution. What about Tanner's wife? Does Mrs. Tanner have a resolution?
No.
Does she do that goofy shit?
No.
That's
I don't think many people do them at all anymore. I remember used to always like see people talking about their resolutions on social media and shit.
Yeah, true.
Like 10 years ago, you just don't see it anymore. They've seemed to have kind of died off. Kids are just too busy smoking those jewel packs now. They're not making resolutions.
Fell off. Yeah.
Yeah.
True.
Used to be the old classic, I want to start going to the gym next year. I'm going to work out. Yourself, you're not going to do that, you know. Just stop lying to yourself. But yeah.
Right. Exactly. So anyway, welcome to the show. So yeah, today we have a couple things we want to talk about. Another fairly light week, I would say, in terms of actual updates and stuff, but still a couple of interesting things I wanted to get into here. But first, a couple of announcements. Welcome to our new gold patrons, Daniel B. and Jeremy S. Boys, welcome aboard the Patreon. And thank you to our new gold patrons. Very much appreciated. More importantly, we have a Giga upgrader. Eric B was an annual platinum patron. Annual platinum. And he said, you know what? I want even more. I'm going with savings. Annual Damascus, dude. Huge brain Giga Chad play. Shout out to you, Eric. And thank you very much for the upgrade, King. I absolutely love and appreciate you. Patreon.com/thedropshot. Best way to support the show. 5 bonus episodes a month. We do monthly hangouts. We do other things as well. I always forget all the shit we do, but we do it all. So if you want to support the program, if you wanted extra episodes, if you wanted early access and ad-free episodes, you get all that and more. Patreon.com/thedropshot. We have 3 tiers. You get the most bang for your buck probably at gold, but if you want even more, we do a lot for platinum and Damascus as well. But again, you can just check out the website and see all the offerings there. And also, welcome to our new friend of the pod YouTube member, Nichols. If you want to watch live stream VODs as soon as they end, you can become a YouTube member and you get those raw live streams right away before we upload the kind of edited, cleaned up with ads podcast video to YouTube. So there you go. Thank you, Nichols. Now we haven't done a Patreon episode yet this month. And that ties into us not having an episode this Saturday. So I have been telling you guys that I'm moving on this day
since June,
or that day since entirely too long. So I'm done like making promises or guesses as to when I'm moving. I think I'm moving next week, but who the fuck knows? Because everything is a disaster. And the Fed, fuck mortgages. It's all dog shit and cringe. Plus, we're moving across state. Now, I will say most of our things are in a pod out in our driveway. So
we're heading over there later. Steal it. Thanks, man.
Got it. There's a lock on it, which could probably be easily broken. But anyway, we're moving soon, probably. And whether or not I'm moving next week, I'm going to be very busy this entire week, including Saturday. That's when, like, I don't know, a pod comes or leaves or some shit. But we're not doing anything Saturday. And that's also why we haven't done a Patreon episode yet. Normally, we would have probably done at least one Patreon episode of the 5 for January by now. We haven't yet. I would expect we won't until next week at the earliest. But that's kind of okay because nothing really has changed in the game for the last 3 weeks anyway.
Yeah.
So, as annoying as it has been for me and for us to have to like pre-record episodes, put up Q&As pre-recorded, skipping this Saturday, this is a good time because just nothing's going on over at IDub and Raven and Activision in general. So, unfortunately, no episode this Saturday. I'm going to be very busy. But this is like the best time for me to be moving because COD has not been this dead easily since MW 2 came out. Like, not even close. So it's actually kind of a good time for me to be busy.
Yeah,
but yeah, that's why there's been no Patreon episodes this month yet and no Saturday up yet. Were you going to say something?
No.
Okay, sorry. But yeah, I'm done explaining the details to you guys. I think I'm moving next week, but I don't know. I'm done making promises. I have no idea. Once it's all done and settled, we're waiting to do our behind the scenes episode for you Damascus patrons this month until I'm done moving, so I can tell you guys all about it.
Oh, you gotta get a haircut.
Oh yeah,
Dear
my hair's a mess.
God.
Yeah, my hair is real.
That is,
long.
I think, the worst it has ever been since we started the pod. That's probably the
since we
started
started
it's
the
ever
pod.
been, yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Used to keep that sucker high and tight. You
I would
fell
have
off.
gotten it cut by now, but I thought I was moving soon, so I was like, oh, I'll just find a new barber out there once I move.
Well,
But
they
that
don't
was
have
like,
any
I thought I
barbers
was going to be
there.
out there a month ago.
Yeah.
So now it's just too long if I had known. But now it's like, do I want to like deal with going to get a fucking haircut? Anyway, whatever. However, our plan originally for this Saturday was to do a Warzone duos analysis, impressions, review episode on Saturday. L, friend of the pod, La Voxino, formerly known as L2K Greatness, friend of the program, said something in our Discord, our feedback channel. He's like, you guys should just fucking play duos every week or solos. Because a lot of the time when you guys are talking about Warzone, you say, oh, well, this is like good for quads or this is bad for quads, but I don't know how it would impact solos and duos because I never play those. That's something we say a lot. So he was like, you guys should just fucking figure it out and like play a couple hours of duos or solos or whatever every week so that you have more of a grasp on that. I replied to him, no, I'm not doing that. Because you could extend that logic to every Call of Duty game mode. So am I supposed to play like Search and Destroy for 2 hours every week to talk about that? Okay. Tier 1? Okay. DMZ? Okay. Spec Ops? Raids? Because there's a percentage of our listeners that play all of those things, right?
Yeah, there are.
And that is not ever happening. That's just not what we're going to do. And another thing, too, which has been our ethos since day one, is that we're not going to talk about or spend a ton of time on any Call of Duty game mode that we don't enjoy playing because the content would be shit. Which I totally stand by. Like, if we played DMZ for 10 hours a week and talked about it a lot, but we didn't like it, it just wouldn't be good content. You know? That's why we talk about the things we talk about. When we liked zombies, we played zombies and we talked about zombies. Now we don't. There are no zombies. So we don't talk about them anymore. But I think that is important for the program and will continue. However, duos is something we are willing to do some of. We're not going to be playing it like, you know, a dedicated amount every week or whatever. But a lot of people do play solos and duos. More of a percentage of our listeners than play DMZ, for example. So it's less of an insane ask than saying, oh, well, you should have to play it 2 hours of every game mode every week. It's like, yeah, sure. But it's like, where's the biggest pie? It's like solos, duos, trios, quads, probably. And then like multiplayer somewhere in there too. So Tanner and we're going to this Saturday do a podcast where we talk about duos. So tomorrow we were going to hop on and play duos, even though we would normally play quads for a couple hours. I was probably going to stream it. That's out now. I didn't realize the timetable for moving. And then, yeah, we were going to talk about it on Saturday. Since Saturday episode is canceled, we're not doing that. However, soon we will be doing a duos podcast episode. Let me say this now, though. I'm never doing, we are never doing a solos episode. We will talk about solos. And I think if we play duos, we'll get a way better sense for how Warzone 2 plays currently in solos. Because duos, definitionally, is a lot closer to solos than quads is. But I'm never playing solos ever in Warzone. I've never liked solos BRs. I don't really like playing multiplayer games alone, period.
Agreed.
If I'm going to play a video game alone, I'll play a single player game because they're designed for that. I'm not playing solos BR ever. Tanner isn't either. So that's never happening.
Despise them, yeah.
But duos we could definitely do. Duos is a lot of fun. Or it can be. And in fact, when MW2 came out, when Warzone 2 came out, Tanner and I played duos. Those were our first couple of games of Warzone. We got a nice win. We had like almost 20 kills in that game too, day one.
Our first Warzone 2 win was, a duos game. What, third or fourth game on?
Yeah, it was like the third.
It was pretty early. It wasn't bad, yeah.
Yeah, and we had you had 9 kills and I had 7 or some shit. Like we had a pretty good amount of kills too.
Games into a new map and mode and everything, or new game.
It was a lot of fun. So we're going to do that eventually, probably toward the end of this month, sometime in January. I imagine we'll be doing that duos episode. So if you're a solos player, this will be more relevant to you than normal when we talk about Warzone. And if you're a duos player, obviously it will be as well. So I'm excited to do that episode. And it will be coming soon, but unfortunately,
it'll be sometime this month. Again, it kind of depends on your move next week. I don't even know if we'll be able to do it for next Saturday. I'm almost assuming there won't even be a next Thursday pod, but we'll keep you guys updated. Again, it all depends on if or when you ever actually move out of the state.
Yeah. So, we'll get into that more in the behind the scenes. But other than that, any other announcements, Tana?
No.
All right, if you're listening for the jingle, here it is.
Oh, I love stretching. That's my New Year's resolution. Stretch more.
You're a stretch guy?
Oh my God, I love stretching. Stretch me out.
Welcome, pigs, to the program. Today, we are talking about Call of Duty. So, first section here, patch notes changes already in effect. Once again, 2 things changed. That's it. 2 small things, by the way. So, the first is that the loadout drop in trios is now correctly priced at $24,000. So, when they originally added loadout drops, it was supposed to be 8K in solos, 16 in duos, 24, 32. You just add 8. I don't know what the price was in trios, but apparently it wasn't 24K. Was it also 32?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was just checking the dates. Yeah, they dropped this on December 20th. Yeah, and it was supposed to be 24,000. So December 20th took a good 15. Took more than 2 weeks for them to simply fix trios being the incorrect price for a loadout drop.
What's weird about this too is I didn't expect it until, this week. But also, if you're back in the office on, let's be generous and say you're back in the office on the 3rd on Tuesday. Well, then I guess it would be in Wednesday. Yeah, you know what? That timetable actually does kind of make sense given the holidays.
Well,
actually,
something like that I figured would have been like a hot fix that they would have done like immediately. That couldn't have been difficult to do. That's why I'm like, really? We had to wait
true.
2.5 weeks for that?
Like before Christmas break, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the 20th was 5 days before Christmas. It was a Tuesday.
Oh,
Christmas
yeah, you're right.
Sunday,
it should have been fixed that week.
Yeah, again, they were already mentally on break like they always are, yeah.
Yep, and they still are, yeah.
So cool, thanks for that. Thanks for fixing
so they
that.
Fixed that. That's big change number 1. Yeah, and then change number 2 from IDA. This isn't even really a patch, but missions to Building 21 have been shut down. They tweeted this 3 days ago on the 2nd. So Building 21, for those of you who don't know, is the very special big loot off-site location you can get to through DMZ by getting some kind of access card or something. This is again another thing Tanner and I will eventually be diving into, all of the DMZ shit, and particularly this, because it did look interesting, which we talked about last week. But anyway, they've been shut down, and scheduled infiltration will begin again on Friday, which is the 6th of January. Stay frosty. So supposedly, if they are not lying, which is an open question, then on Friday, you guys will be able to get into Building 21 in DMZ again. Which is I'm actually kind of excited to see, not to play it because I won't be able to, but to see what else people learn about Building 21. Because like JGod is a very big DMZ fan. He's the most popular Call of Duty DMZ player on planet Earth. And even he released a video of him in Building 21 when we had talked about it last week. But there was no like info about it. Like it was just a raw recording basically of him and his squad being in Building 21, looking around, fighting people. And that was kind of it. So I feel like there's a lot more to learn about Building 21. And I am almost certain that if it does in fact open on Friday, JGod will get active, get in there, and give us more details on that, which I'm genuinely, again, quite interested in. I think if this has some cool shit to it in terms of unlocks, maybe gameplay, but mostly like unlocks or difficult missions or whatever, it could add some much needed spice, sizzle to DMZ, which needs some stakes that it doesn't really quite have enough of yet. So I'm excited to see what is going to come of that. So next week, when we do our next news podcast, hopefully we'll have some more info on what Building 21 entails.
I wonder what the lore is on that, because like, why does it keep opening and closing? When is it going to just permanently be open? Because obviously, surely they're not going to be tweeting about when Building 21 opens and closes for a year, right? Please don't do that. Please. Just leave it open or close it forever. One of the two. I'm already sick of reading the tweets about it, frankly. I would rather it just open and close randomly and players kind of have to figure it out on their own when it's open. I don't know. But it's just like dumb, too, because it's like, what if a lot of people that play DMZ are like super casual, they probably don't even have Twitter. They're not reading the fucking tweets and knowing that Building 21 is open or not. Like, what? I don't get it.
Yeah.
But anyways, yeah, I don't know. I still don't care about DMZ, but maybe eventually I will.
Yeah, we'll see. So we'll keep you guys updated on that. And that's it. So that's all that's changed this week. Not terribly surprising. They just got back into the office. Today's Thursday. Hopefully by next week we're getting some like real changes to the game, but don't expect anything crazy until February, which we'll get into. Yeah. So the last thing I want to talk about is actually a video from this guy named Ponyhoff. Ponyhoff, whatever. Change it. This guy, I was telling Tanner, is a content creator and he makes videos about Call of Duty. And he's pretty popular. He's pretty big. He's a German dude that speaks English. Like he makes his content in English. And I originally found out that this guy exists because before Call of Duty, he used to be a popular Hearthstone streamer. That's all he made content on, which is a card game. It's a card game. And randomly, he switched to Call of Duty, which is weird. And the Hearthstone community didn't love him, by the way. Someone was spectating his game on stream, and then he got mad because the streamer who was spectating him while live was stealing his content, which is an insane thing to say. And if you've ever spectated or played or watched a Hearthstone stream, you know all the streamers spectate each other all the time when they go piss or whatever. He's the only one ever to get mad about that. Weird fucking dude. But anyway, I will say he did put out a video which was brought to my attention in Discord. So shout out to Lars. Yeah, shout out to Lars for joining the Discord and linking me this. It is a guide by this guy, or a video by this guy, where he tested all the underbarrels in this game. So this is one of my big fucking gripes with the gunsmith in MW2, as you guys have heard, is that there are actually, like, well, now I can just count them for you. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Okay, so there are 14 underbarrel attachments that are different with different names that all have the same pros and cons, and they affect the little stat graph in the bottom left exactly the same amount. So they are completely indistinguishable in terms of their actual impact on what they're doing to your gun. 14, by the way, besides the name. So I was like, I've been saying, why are you doing this? And help me understand. And this is why we need actual numbers, etc., yada, yada, whatever. This guy actually went into the gunsmith and fucking tested all of them. So there are 14 for recoil stabilization. There are fewer for recoil steadiness. But I'm going to link the video and the recoil plots in the description of this episode, so you guys can take a look. And if we can pull one of these up, Tanner.
I've got it up.
Okay.
So this first page here, what is the difference between this and the second image?
They're different attachments.
Okay.
Yeah. So some of the underbarrels, so 14 of the underbarrels say that they help with aiming, idle stability, and recoil stabilization. And then there's an additional 12, 13, 9, I can't, 8, 9, 10, 11 that say they help with aiming, idle stability, and recoil steadiness.
Okay, so this image we have up right now, these attachments say the exact same thing in game is what you're saying, correct?
Yes,
okay.
All of them, every single one of these underbarrel attachments, the pros are aiming, idle stability, and recoil stabilization, and then the cons are aim down sight speed.
Got it.
All of them. They all say the same thing, and according to the game, they all do the exact same thing. But they obviously don't, as we can tell from this image. So here's the first image. Again, I'll have this linked and the original video if you want to check it out. And I don't know if I want to go into... I'm not going to describe every recoil plot to you guys. I will say if you're listening on an app, you should go at least look at the images. Again, I'll have an imager linked in the description you can quickly see. One thing that stands out to me and the biggest point as to why I wanted to point this out, first of all, they are different. They don't all do the same thing like everything in the game tells you they do, which is not surprising. What is surprising is the magnitude to which they actually help the gun with recoil is not very big, and it seems more like each underbarrel changes the recoil pattern rather than lowers how much recoil there is. So you can see there's one recoil plot of the base gun, no attachments, and then there's another bunch of recoil plots for each underbarrel in this category, the stabilization category. So one point he made in the video, which I kind of agree with, is like, you should pick whatever underbarrel that you're most used to controlling the recoil pattern of. So for example, if one, underbarrel makes the recoil go from straight up to, or from like right to left, pick the left one if you're better at controlling left side recoil, whatever. But I think the optimum ones are going to be those that are as vertical as possible. So if I had to pick an underbarrel, I'm picking the Gravedigger probably. Because again, it's like the magnitude of recoil vertically is the same, but it looks a lot straighter. Like straighter and slightly left instead of like a little snake in the base pattern, you know? I don't know. Do any of these stand out to you?
I don't understand why he has 4 plots and then 2 of them are color highlighted. Because the 4 plots...
those are like the averages, I guess.
Okay.
I don't know.
They're just all so different. I mean, they're still very different. I don't know. They're fucking all over the place.
There's random recoil smile, yeah.
I think... I don't know. Because, like, you look at one little line and it looks good, and then you look at the other 3 and they're terrible, so it's so hard to say. I will say the FTAC Ripper, which has always been kind of like one of the meta ones, it absolutely looks terrible on this plot. Like, it actually looks one of the worst to me, in my opinion. I would say the edge, the bottom right one, looks kind of interesting. But then, see, that's the one where one of them looks really clean and then the other 3 are dog shit, so I don't know. It's so hard to pick. I think overall, probably the, what was the one I liked?
Ripper, you said? Or not Ripper, you said?
I don't know, actually. The more I look at them, they're all just miserable. Yeah. They're not good. None of them are good. Look at it compared to the base. None of them are good. I swear to God, a lot of these make it worse than not running one.
Commando looks horrific. That looks so bad. It goes like in and then like back out. I don't know.
I think maybe the X10 Nexus.
The Nexus looks pretty clean. Yeah. Yeah, that one probably looks better. That one
I don't know. They're just not good.
Yeah. Yeah, so the biggest surprise to me so far is how little they do. How little they help. Like, they obviously change the patterns from base, but they don't, like, really change the magnitude of recoil, you know?
Exactly.
Yeah. Very weird. So, anyway, you guys will have an image there.
But
now we're going to go to the second image. Yeah, that's kind of my point. And then the next image here is the recoil steadiness underbarrel. So again, there are 11 attachments that help with recoil steadiness and aiming idle stability. And they all say they do the exact same thing, all 11 of them. And here's the chart for these ones. I think if I'm using an underbarrel, this is a lot more impactful. Because you look at the base recoil and then like the Merc foregrip, like that changed the fuck out of that recoil pattern. It goes from being up right to up left and like straighter, like a smoother line, you know. Like Merc foregrip here helps a lot. Schlager Tango helps a lot. I think those would be the 2 I'm looking at. But I think Merc foregrip's the best because it makes it like a straight line. A diagonal line, but a straight line. So I think
Merc foregrip. OPX9, I've never even heard of that one. I've probably never scrolled over far enough to even look at it.
Though.
I didn't even know most of these existed. Hex 40, EXF Backdraft, Cronin Grooveshot. I've never heard of any of those names in my life.
Yeah, it's because
they've probably never been used once by anyone in the history of MW2.
I know.
But yeah, with that being said, like True Game Data was saying, and I linked the tweet here, he had said, I wonder if it was in response to this guy's video. I wonder when he posted this video. But True Game Data said, recoil is so inconsistent in this game that it's very difficult to get accurate results from testing. Even when using up to 8 recoil plots and taking averages, it is still not very accurate. And there are way too many attachments in the game that are almost identical. That is my current plan, though. Just get the numbers by throwing stupid amounts of hours at repeated testing. So if Pony actually just did 4 tests and this is it, it doesn't really tell us much at all. And that's why one of them will look amazing and the other 4 will look terrible. So I'm more interested to see what True Game Data ends up doing. He'll test one attachment 400 times and then show the overlay and get the averages from that. But yeah, none of these help that much, really.
I think they help a fair amount. Like the Merc foregrip is the biggest example here. Like the base recoil on all 4, there is variation, but it goes up and then like hooks right, like every time.
Yeah.
And then on the Merc foregrip, it goes Well, it goes up and left 3 out of 4 times.
I was going to say, look at that far right one. It's so far different from everything. God, what a terrible video game, truly.
And that's another big thing to keep in mind with all of these is you will notice between the 4 different plots, recoil patterns using the same gun with the same attachment in the same spot on the same wall at the same time, is how much variation there is in recoil patterns. Like, that's crazy.
Yeah.
That is a lot of random recoil. And you really can only look at averages when you're picking one of these attachments. Yeah. Or like look for patterns, you know? So I think this can be helpful, but the biggest thing is I didn't know there was this much random recoil. Plus, underbarrels don't help as much as I thought. And I might have just freed up a slot, honestly, for some other attachment that's going to help me more, like an aim down sight speed attachment.
That's what I had said about like the frickin' the raw, is that like that grip that everyone used that has like 5 downsides. Like, dude, it hardly helps. Grip, why is everyone using that? It just kills your ADS, kills your movement. It's so weird that people are using those, and it just goes to show you no one has a clue. I will say from this, the VX Pineapple overall looks the most consistent, and I feel like that's why that's probably the meta one. That is the only one where all 4 plots are pretty similar.
True.
The other, I mean, especially like Merc Foregrip, all 4 of them are completely different. But yeah, Straight Shot made a good point too. Without tuning, isn't this all meaningless or at least a variable? True. We don't know. Some of these probably tune completely better than others, and just no one's tested that, because that would take fucking hours and hours and hours of testing. So some of these tuning probably really changes the magnitude, and then others it almost does nothing. So that is true. That's why these plots don't look like there are major changes, is because that's the way they designed the game for tuning to come into play too. Because
these are all tuned, by the way.
Oh, they are
attachments. What he did was just max like recoil steadiness and max like recoil for like aim stability or whatever.
Yeah, since like
so
ADS times didn't matter for his testing. Okay.
Yeah, right. He just maxed them out to keep them all like equal, you know. In terms of tuning. Yeah. Okay. So this is tuned. Yeah, which is kind of a good point. I wonder what these look like untuned.
Well, that's why, I was going to say, maybe that's what the other 2 plots are for on the side. But if you didn't say that, then I guess not. No. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. And one other thing I learned from this video, by the way, which I'm going to start doing, is if you want to test something yourself, like for example, the raw side grip that Tanner hates, I'm going to test this myself. It's actually giga easy to do. Make a custom class with overkill. Put a raw on as your primary with the side grip. And then put another raw on. Oh, you can't do that, actually. Fuck. You can't. It won't let you put 2 with the same gun. I don't think. Anyway.
Well, you can change
classes, though.
You can stay in the firing range, but change your gun. But will the plots disappear on the wall? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, that's a good question. I don't know. Yeah, if they wouldn't, then it would be really easy. But all you do to get the recoil plots is when you're in the firing range, just do a 180 and just shoot at the door. And then you can like see what the plot is. So even if you can't like keep a plot when you change classes, you can make just a raw without the grip and then with it, shoot at the door, take a screenshot, shoot at the door again, compare them. You don't have to like load into a custom game and shoot at a wall or anything. There's a wall to shoot in the firing range. That's my point, which is super easy to get into. So there you go on that. And then, yeah, Tanner also linked some true game data tweets, which he already talked about. But he said, yeah, again, just to reiterate, recoil is super inconsistent in this game, and it's very difficult to get accurate results from testing. This is probably also why sim.gg does not have stats on this. Is because it doesn't like, there's like the magnitude of random recoil every gun has is way higher than Warzone 1. Because when I remember doing this for exclusive Ace videos where he would test recoil patterns and he would do 4 as well, and they would all look way more similar to each other than these do.
100%.
I wonder if that's by design or not, or if it's, you know, if the tuning shit has fucked it up. I don't know. It's hard to say. I could see them doing it on purpose because if you have literally random recoil, which we do, you're shrinking the skill gap. Because it doesn't take skill to control random recoil. It's random by definition.
Yeah,
it takes some kind of. It's hard to whatever.
Something else True Game Data had said is that many decisions also made recoil scripts and cheating in general much more difficult with this random recoil. So you think that is somehow involved? I don't know how that would matter. I would just, because it's like the guns that don't have recoil just literally if you're using a no recoil cheat, there's no recoil. Why? I don't get why it matters what the random spread is. Like, I don't know how they design, or I don't know how they code those sheets in, but I wouldn't think a game having random recoil would have anything to do with having a cheat to make it have 0 recoil. I don't know. That sounds wrong to me, but he knows a lot about that stuff, so must be true. But yeah, I don't know. That's interesting.
That's a good question. That is interesting, actually. Well, that's not how it works already, Chris. Because, like, I think from what I understand, way back in the day, in Counter-Strike, for example, when there's no attachments and no random recoil, an AK does the same thing every single time. So if you get really good, you're moving your mouse and, like, your gun is not moving. I've seen TikToks, in fact, of people playing CSGO, and they'll have like an AK and they're shooting at a wall or whatever, and it'll be a side-by-side of their mouse cam, their mouse hand, and then the gun. And the gun like isn't moving while they're going full auto. And the guy with his hand is literally doing like a fucking snake movement with his arm to control the recoil to make it not move, you know? But it does the same thing every single time so that you can write a script that pulls the mouse down exactly this amount to exactly this long so that the gun doesn't have recoil. But I don't think that's how like Warzone 1 no recoil worked, because in Warzone 1, I doubt they made a script for the growl with no attachments and how much recoil that has exactly. And then a separate one for with Merc foregrip. And then a separate one for with Merc foregrip plus Archangel barrel. And then a separate one, because those all affect recoil, you know? So I don't think that's even how no recoil scripts have been working, because there's no way they're writing a program to counter recoil for every gun and every variation because of attachments. So I don't see it either. Like what Tanner's saying, if there's more random recoil, it's like, I don't know. I don't know how that does hinder cheaters, but maybe it does. He would know more than me, so maybe it does help, but I don't know.
Rust used to be that way too. People that were good at Rust, they would like pull down, like go left and right with their mouse and control the recoil perfectly. And then I think with an update last year, Rust either they made the guns have random recoil or they completely change every pattern. So all the Rust kids with like 5,000 hours were so pissed that got the recoil control down perfectly.
Oh no.
Were just fucking furious that they changed it on them. It was like a big thing in the Rust community.
Yeah.
But yeah, what Chris is saying about aim assist, I think someone had said that to True Game Data at one point, and he said aim assist doesn't factor into play though. Like it doesn't. He said something that I like read, and I'm like, how that? I don't think that makes sense. He had basically said the recoil doesn't, or it does matter still for controller players because it's not like the aim assist is helping with the recoil pattern. But I'm like, well, but yeah, but if the aim assist is sticking to their chest, they're going to hit more bullets with or without random recoil, right? Like what he said to me made no sense, because I thought the same thing that Chris is saying, is that maybe that's why controller is even better in this game. The recoil is random, more likely to help an aim assist user. Seems to make perfect sense to me. I don't know, but he seemed to think that has nothing to do with it. I'm like, I don't see how you could possibly say that, but I don't know.
I think random recoil makes it more difficult for a controller player to control it, just like it makes it more difficult for a mouse to control it. But I think the degree to which it hinders your ability to aim is much less on controller than on mouse in certain situations.
Yeah.
Like I think it harms both, but it harms mouse more because it doesn't have aim assist.
Yeah. If I'm at 20 meters and my recoil pattern is so weird and my reticle ends up going literally half a millimeter off of some guy's body, I'm missing that shot. But I feel like on controller, aim assist is going to not let that happen. I would find that hard to believe that it would like end up, the recoil would change on one of those shots and pull it off of their body and not get a hit. I don't know. I just don't believe that, but maybe it's true.
Yeah. I think it depends on the scenario too. Because yeah, if you're at like 30 meters, then I think random recoil really fucks with controller also.
Yeah.
Because you do have to control recoil.
It's way worse for everyone at range, of course, but
yeah, definitely. So anyway, something to think about. So yeah, that's it for patch notes. And now on to news and upcoming changes. We have a little bit to talk about here, and one fun and exciting little tidbit to end on, which I'm very excited about. Let's start us off, Tanner. What do we got here?
Yes, this has been all the talk, the Warzone talk in the TL lately. Charlie Intel tweeted it out yesterday. Several players are reporting a bug in Warzone 2 that if you get 10 plus kills in a game, you are disconnected and shadow banned. Oof. I read that and I thought, these people are fucking insane. How would that possibly be a bug? No, that's not happening. Then I started going through Twitter. There were videos, there were proof. It was happening to everyone. A lot of streamers, a lot of good players that have never before been shadow banned would be mid-game with between 10 and 12 kills. All of a sudden, their game gets disconnected, and then they're shadow banned. And you can go to some website and check if they're shadow banned, like you would put in here. Don't know how it works, but there's some. I think you go to your Activision account, and it'll tell you if you can like appeal the ban or not. I don't know. I've never been shadow banned, never will, because I'm not good. But you can check it, and so that's how these people are positive that they're shadow banned, and they're pulling up on stream and showing it. So like one of the people, Nadeshot, who is of course a longtime CDL player, owner of 100 Thieves, longtime COD competitor. I guarantee you he's never been shadow banned in his life. He was shadow banned yesterday, day before. Someone like that who you would think be like one of those whitelisted streamers.
Yeah.
So something funky is going on. Iceman Isaac also tweeted it out. I've joined the Shadow Ban Club, took a screenshot of it, says his account is under review. And he also posted the video of it. He was in a building. He had 12 kills in the game. He was running, all of a sudden disconnected. And he checked his account and he was shadow banned, surely enough. So I have no idea how this is possible, that this is like a bug. It seems to me like they probably must have been doing something with like the way skill-based matchmaking works, or like the shadow ban system, and something went wrong and now people are getting shadow banned for this, because it's pretty much always been based on reports, and this is obviously not being based on reports. Now this is like you hit a certain threshold and it kicks you out of the game. If anything, it sounds actually more like a ricochet problem, like there's some sort of bug with the anti-cheat that's making it think like how their anti-cheat works now, that if some guy has like 100% what's it called? Like 100% hit count, basically, accuracy, or something like that halfway through the game. Like, oh, that's not humanly possible. We're going to auto kick this guy out. This sounds similar to that. So it probably is some sort of issue with Ricochet. Maybe they updated something and it fucked it up. But that's a major problem right now. So a lot of the big streamers are shadow banned currently because most of them get over 10 kills. I get over 10 kills in every Warzone 2 game usually. So yeah, maybe I should hop
10 kills
on.
Is not that much.
That's not a lot at all. I mean,
this.
These guys drop 40 kill games. 10 is nothing. So
yeah,
pretty game breaking when all of these guys are already complaining about how bad Warzone 2 is compared to Warzone 1 to now have this issue on top of it. Smile.
Yes, and Infinity Ward has tweeted about this. Psych. Of course they haven't.
Oh, no one will tweet
Activision
about
said
this,
nothing.
yeah.
Raven said nothing. Infinity Ward said nothing. And this has been going on for, I think, like 2 days now.
Who is that one dipshit on Twitter you argued with that worked for Call of Duty? I wish I knew his name.
God.
I wonder if he's tweeted about this.
Great question. Probably.
Fuck.
He probably said it's our fault for getting 10 kills and we just don't understand or something.
Yeah, no,
Fucking
you guys
idiot.
understand.
Yeah, that guy's a real
No one can get
weirdo.
10 kills in Warzone 2. It's not possible.
Yeah.
I designed
anyway,
the game. Fuck
this
you.
is kind of crazy. Although Tanner does bring up a good point, this is probably more of like a Ricochet problem because it's obviously not based on reports. Almost certainly not. It would be an insane coincidence if it was. It's virtually guaranteed that it's not based on reports, which is normally how you get shadow banned.
Yeah.
And it's instead based on some kind of like threshold for kills that Ricochet's auto-flagging you for. I actually kind of like that this is proof, virtually proof, that Ricochet can just detect things and take actions without relying on player reports or dev oversight to take action. I think that's actually a good thing. Now, obviously, this is not how you implement those possibilities. But now, this, for the first time, I have proof that Ricochet does shit automatically, which is what it should be doing, which is what a kernel level anti-cheat I've always thought would do. So, again, obviously, don't shadowban people for getting 10 kills, duh. But this is proof that Ricochet is doing something. And once they fix this bug, I'm curious to see what they were trying to do when this happened. Because there haven't been big updates to the game. So it's not like season 2 came out and this happened.
Yeah.
Because then you could just say, oh, it's a bug with a new season like every other season. But this is more like just they were patching Ricochet internally and then they fucked up their own patch, I guess. That's the best way I can describe
they changed the loadout drop price. That's what did it. That's the bug.
Yeah.
They changed the price of loadout drop in trios, and that's getting players.
It's possible, man. Yeah. So I don't know. Hopefully they fix this really soon, because this is like a game-breaking bug for every content creator, because every big streamer gets more than 10 kills in every game. Yeah. So it's really bad for Activision if no one's streaming their fucking game because they can't, because they're shadow banned. So I'm sure this will get fixed pretty fucking soon. But what this implies, I think, is the more interesting thing, which is actually kind of good as far as I'm concerned, depending on
an interesting way of looking
how
at it.
they implement that capacity that Ricochet now is proven to have. So
yeah. All right, and then pretty much last thing here, an article from our boy Thomas Henderson, Insider-Gaming.com. This one's titled "Warzone 2 Resurgence Map Could Come in Season 2." Wow. So in December 2022, we already talked about this. Ralph's Valve leaked Season 2 key art of MW2 and Warzone 2, which was promptly DMCA'd by Activision. The image, although not officially confirmed by Activision, contained World at War's castle map. It was in the background of the art. Fan theories have already suggested that castle could be a part of the new Resurgence map after leaked images of the alleged map leaked online showed a castle POI. Insider Gaming has been told by 2 people that the Resurgence map will be coming as part of Season 2, but due to our 3-source rule, we cannot yet say for definite if that's the case. We'll update the article. More sources come forward or prove or debunk these claims. In addition to the castle map leaked through the key art, it was revealed that Ronin will be making a return. Ronin was the first introduced in MW 2019's game. He is an operator. He's that big, what is he, like Asian dude or something?
He's Asian, yeah.
He is based on a real life character. I think he has like a gun channel or something.
It's a dope channel. It's super well produced.
Is he like a former SEAL or some shit? Probably. Yes. He's a former
former special ops. Okay. I don't know what it was.
He killed people IRL for sure.
He did shit, yeah. And he's not like a fake one.
He operated, yeah.
There's like pictures of him, like he's the real deal.
Yeah. But yeah, cool. It is presumed that Warzone 2 Season 2 will start on Wednesday, February 1st, thanks to the Season 1 Battle Pass timer. So yeah. Interesting. Yeah. I wonder if we'll see that.
So my thoughts on this are, first of all, how much of a Chad are you as Tom Henderson to say, due to our 3-source rule, we cannot yet say definitively if that's the case? What a Chad. He has a 3-source rule. How many fucking leakers do you know that have 3-source rules or 2-source rules or 1-source rules?
Oh, usually you get some guy sending you a DM in Twitter, and then they're tweeting it out to some guy with 0 followers. Yeah, with an MS Paint demonstration of a fucking zoo, and then you make a whole fucking leak about it. Yeah, rideable giraffes with mounted 50 cals coming out of their nostrils coming in Warzone 2, confirmed.
Yeah, so shout out to Tom Henderson for that. But he seems fairly confident, obviously, that this is the case. Otherwise, he wouldn't have written this article. And 2 Tom Henderson sources is a pretty big deal. It's not just 2 random sources. It's 2 Thomas J. Henderson sources. So I think this is coupled with the leaked Resurgence map, which looked legit, and the leaked castle map picture, which also looked legit, and were DMCA'd by Activision, which makes them way more likely to be real. I would not at all. And Resurgence coming in Season 2 being good because all the Resurgence players want that as soon as possible, and Activision knows that. All of those things combined makes me very confident that this is the case. Yeah. And if it is, I bet we're going to start hearing about it mid-January, probably, is when they'll start. Whenever they put out their roadmaps and shit, they'll leak it, or they'll announce it, rather. I think it's very likely.
And the other thing is Charlie Intel did tweet out about this as well. They said, rumors suggest Warzone 2's Resurgence map will release with Season 2 per Tom Henderson. And a lot of times what they'll do, if there is a rumor or leak going around that is just flat out wrong, Charlie Intel will just say, this leak is going around, it's just so off base and wrong and definitely not true. And they'll say that. So the fact that he even tweeted this as saying rumors suggest Warzone 2 Resurgence map is coming with Season 2 is interesting. Could mean that they know more instead of just flat out saying, LOL, no, it's not coming. That's a bait. But
correct,
they don't know everything. And they've been wrong before when they've said things. So
yes, they have.
But that is an interesting note because usually he is not wrong when it comes to these things.
So you think it's coming in Season 2 also?
Maybe, yeah. I don't really have a major opinion or thought on it, but I mean, it won't matter the way the game plays. Resurgence will be worse than Al-Mazrah if they don't drastically change the gameplay, and Resurgence players, I think, know that now, so it won't really matter. They won't enjoy it. But yeah, you can add it in. I won't play it. I'll be playing Al-Mazrah still.
I will play it. Here's my thing. And we talked about how Resurgence would play in this game, and that it would be terrible because of the TTK, especially up close, being way too fast.
Mm-hmm.
Plus the inability to stim out, slide out, run while plating. It would be very difficult to play Resurgence. I'm excited for this to come out because it is possible that based on how they design the map, or maybe some changes to how the mode works, or us just not accounting for all the variables, that it's actually more fun than it seems like it will be on paper. I find that pretty unlikely, but we've been wrong about things before, and I am very curious to see how a Resurgence map will play in Warzone 2. I don't expect it to play well, but it's possible that it will, and that I can account for all the variables, and that would be really interesting.
Yeah.
And for that reason, I'm really excited. I'm also really excited because even if it does play like dog shit, it's going to be a great place to just get reps in gunfights with plates, which is what we talked about with Rebirth Island. Like, if you want to get better at Warzone gunfights, don't play Warzone because you're going to spend 20 minutes looting, getting your first gunfight and lose, and then have to go back to the lobby, and you got, like, no practice. Yeah. Resurgence, you get a ton of practice looting, contending with plates, getting in gunfights quick, respawning often. So I'm excited for that purpose as well for myself. And also, I am very excited to see all the Resurgence kids come back to the game, give this a try, and then cope and seethe on the TL. That's going to be fun to watch too. It's going to be fun to say, this is fucking dog shit, bring back Rebirth, blah, blah, blah.
Oh, that's going to be they won't like the map, of course, anyway.
Yeah, I don't think they will. I think that's the most likely thing, which I think will be funny.
I don't know from Activision's point of view what they should do, because I understand their want to bring a Resurgence map back ASAP to hopefully bring some players back. But then again, if they do that and the game plays the way it currently plays, it's going to be miserable. I think they would be better off if they're planning on a Resurgence map. I think they'd be better off in Season 2, nerfing a bunch of the guns so the up-close time to kill is not abysmal and, insta-dead. Getting rid of the whole 2-satchel bullshit. God, imagine how fucking trash early game will be when some guy gets a triple plate and you still have a 2 and you both have pistols. Wow, wonder who's going to win that gunfight, right? Wonder who's winning that. You still can't sprint well plating. Just all of these things, if they don't fix those first and just drop Resurgence map, I think that is a massive mistake. And they're going to repeat what they always do, which is turn people off right away because it's not playing the way they expected it to play.
They fix the game,
and then they'll eventually fix it 2 months later, but those players are long gone. They don't care anymore. And that's what they probably will do because that makes the most sense for them.
That's an excellent point.
So
that's an excellent point.
Yeah, so we'll see what they do. And maybe season 2, we get a bunch of updates with the season, and then with season 2 reloaded is when we get the actual Resurgence map or something. But I think it would be a massive mistake if they just dropped a map with the way the game currently is. I think it'll be a huge mistake.
Point. That's a great point, and I think you're right. If they're ever going to allow sprinting while plating as one example, they need to do it concurrently or before they release a Resurgence map, because exactly like you just said, they are going to repeat the mistake they did with Warzone 2, where they released it as a traditional BR with like a loadout that's on your map for 10 seconds. And then every Warzone player was like, okay, fuck this, I'm gone. And then they add them all back anyway. And now it's like a lot more fun and a lot closer to Warzone 1. But how many players have you lost you didn't need to lose? Because you didn't just nail it the first time.
Yeah.
Or not even nail it, but like be in the fucking ballpark at least, you know?
Yeah.
And they are setting themselves up, if they don't make any changes, to the TTK up close and to sprinting while plating, to do that again with Resurgence. That's a great point. Here's another question I have. How are loadouts and strongholds going to work on a Resurgence map?
There probably won't be strongholds, yeah. Couldn't imagine there would be.
You don't think so?
I don't think. I mean, I guess there could be because Infinity Ward, but God,
on Fortune's Keep.
Jesus Christ, that would be insane if so.
Well, like on Fortune's Keep, we had the AI little burger bots coming out of choppers. They weren't on buildings. They weren't strongholds, obviously, but there was like AI infiltration.
Yep.
I could easily see. I'd be surprised if there weren't strongholds, to be honest with you. And I think that's going to be very fucking weird. That'll be. No, I can't. Yeah, I don't know what they're going to do with the stronghold shit, because they're going to want people to get loadouts, or maybe they won't have strongholds, and they'll just drop loady super quickly. I don't know. I'm very curious how they're going to handle AI and strongholds on a Resurgence map.
If there are strongholds, fine, whatever, but you need to let people buy a loadout as soon as possible, anytime they want, if they get the amount of money. Yeah, for not 32,000 rubles, right? In-game rubles, right? Make it 10,000, 8,000.
The problem with having AI, so strongholds or any form of AI on a Resurgence map, is that because the map is smaller, you are way more likely to get literally third-partied by a bot in this game than you would be in regular BR.
Oh, I can see it now.
Where it would be a disaster. Like, it would happen all the time. Because the map is so small. If there's 3 strongholds, like, dude, there's going to be AI all over the place. Can you imagine losing a heads-up gunfight because some bot with a fucking AK just, like, mag dumps you? That's going to be miserable. And it will happen way more often because the map is so much smaller. Because here's what they're not going to do. Have only one stronghold on the map. Because you could say, like, okay, well, there's 5 strongholds on Al Mazrah, so we're just going to lower the number of strongholds so that it's roughly equal relative to the surface area of the map. Well, that would be one stronghold, and one stronghold only would still be more AI per square foot than Al Mazrah has with 5 strongholds.
Yeah.
But they're not going to do only one stronghold. Because then only one team will be able to get loadout right then, and that's going to be the entire game, is whoever does that first wins. It would be really unfair. So if there's strongholds, there's going to be probably 3. And then that's going to be a fuck ton of AI on the map. And coming from choppers and shit, it's going to be a mess.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I don't think they could. That doesn't, I don't know.
We'll see.
Don't think they could, but they could, yeah.
Yeah.
They shouldn't. They shouldn't, but they could. and
Yeah.
very well may. So yeah.
So anyway,
Because Infinity Ward.
Because Infinity Ward. So other than that, yeah, that's pretty much it. Once again, just quick reminder: Season 2 comes out supposedly according to the in-game Battle Pass timer for Season 1. Season 2 will start on Wednesday, February 1st, which seems plausible. Maybe the 2nd. Or yeah. So that'll be cool.
Maybe you'll be moved by then, man.
Yeah, maybe I'll be moved by then. 3 weeks from now, things will pick up a lot. I have very high expectations for Season 2. Well, let me rephrase that. I want a lot in Season 2. I don't know how much I should expect.
You have low expectations. You have high hopes.
Correct. Yeah, that's a better way to phrase it. But
that's
regardless, it'll shake things up because MW2, Warzone 2, little stale right now.
Isn't that crazy? You get a brand new Warzone experience and it's already this stale after less than 2 months.
Little stale, yeah. Yeah, it is a little crazy. They need fucking ranked Warzone now. It's so simple. They gotta figure it the fuck out.
That would help with a lot. The thing with a ranked mode too is that could bring in players that are really good in a game, say like Apex, that are just like, I'm done with Apex. I want to try a different BR. Or PUBG players. It would literally bring those type of players over to a game just to try to grind the leaderboards and like hit the top rank and shit. You know, the average
appeals to so many people.
The average Warzone player doesn't give a shit, but it's fine. They just don't have to play it. But it could, I think, bring in a large player base that is not currently there. Because people do that. People grind leaderboards on games.
Goated Out, I think, is the perfect example of this. Friend of the pod, community member, played a lot of Warzone, and then just got bored of it, and then became like an Apex main. And it's only because Apex has ranked. If there was ranked in Warzone 2, Goat would be back. Like, I'm almost sure of it. There are so many people like that. And he's not like a professional fucking, BR player. Yeah. He's just some guy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, which they talked about, so we should expect it at a time, but I don't know when.
Imagine playing a game of ranked Warzone and how much more that would matter than a regular game of Warzone. Like just think how much different your attitude would change. It'd be like playing Modern Warfare 2 versus playing Tarkov. Like, higher stakes would get you way more involved. You'd want to stay on longer. It would do a lot for those players, and the players that aren't interested in a ranked mode, aren't very good, you just continue to do what you're doing. If you're having fun, then you continue to play that.
Your lobbies will be easier.
Yeah. The thing that gets confusing with a ranked mode is, for getting Resurgence map, does Resurgence have ranked? It shouldn't, because it's a joke. It should only be on like BR Al-Mazrah, but
I think Resurgence ranked would be fun. I think that'd be cool.
Yeah. I mean, it wouldn't mean anything, but yeah.
It would just be giga ratty. Because you can respawn. It would be like super... The strats would be super fucking cheese and dog shit. But...
Well, that's the way ranked Al-Mazrah would be too. The people at the top of the ranked Al-Mazrah leaderboards would be like shaded, OP marked...
Definitely.
Iron, Reed Boy, players like that, not the guys dropping 40, 50 kill games. It would be those guys because they know how to win BRs.
I will say, though, if the kill chase kids, if a ranked mode came out, they would just change their playstyle. And then they could be doing better than like Shaded and OP Mark.
I guess it all depends on what kind of...
For sure what would happen. I'm saying it's possible. They're obviously very talented. It's not like BR strats are impossible to learn,
Yeah, it just comes down to if they want to play that way or not, and many of them won't want to.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, anyway. Anything else, buddy?
Nope.
All right. All right, so light week. This week, that is it, ladies and gentlemen. Reminder, unfortunately, no episode this Saturday, but we will be back sometime next week. I don't know when. I'm sorry. We will keep you posted.
And then we should
keep
be back
your
to normal.
eyes on the Twitter and the Discord. On Monday, we will post our schedule for next week. It'll be our pinned tweet, or it'll be in our Discord in the events tab. Or if you're a YouTube viewer, you can always check the channel, and we schedule our upcoming live streams, our upcoming podcasts here as well. If you want to look into that, go to thedropshot.com for links to everything. Our YouTube, our Twitter, our Discord, and more. as well as, of course, our Patreon, patreon.com/thedropshot. It is the best way to support the show. We do 5 bonus eps a month, ad-free episodes. You get early access episodes. You get monthly hangouts for some of you and more. So if you wanted to support the program, if you wanted extra content, hit up Patreon. Thank you all for watching and listening. Have an excellent evening. Stay humble.
Stay humble.